Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, so this is a little bit of a different version of JavaScript in London. Instead of having a presentation today, we are recording an interview with Ricardo Mallols. Ricardo is someone I know pretty well. We've worked together through recruitment for quite a while. Yeah, he's a great guy, really knowledgeable, and he's on his own venture now with his own startup, Kodiri. So I'll be spending some time talking to Ricardo, finding out a bit more about him, Kodiri, and also asking him for bits and pieces of advice for any software engineers out there. So Ricardo, welcome. Good to have you with me. Would be good to just hear a bit from you, a brief introduction as to who you are. Yeah, what you're up to at the minute.
Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity to participate. Yours, first of all. Yeah, so I'm a software engineer. I've been coding commercially for about 15 or 16 years now, mostly in the JavaScript space. So I've been working in many different countries for many different industries now. Now I'm involved in Kodiri. So yeah, looking forward to have a chat with you and to see how can we help the community to improve their coding skills with Kodiri.
Perfect. So for those that don't know, what is Kodiri? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Kodiri is an online platform. It's a gaming platform where developers play with their coding skills by fighting in a friendly way against each other. And that's pretty much it. It's, again, a social environment where people can play, they can participate, they can watch videos, they can train, and they can interact with each other in a friendly way, essentially.
Okay, who would you say it's for? Like what type of person?
So everybody is welcome. I mean, when talking about the exercises, the online games that we offer, we cover from the very basics. I mean, some of the basic challenges are not even about coding, even though Kodiri is a coding platform. So essentially, we present some problems to users that may not have any coding experience. Could be the first time, but that's fine. So very simplistic approach to coding. And then obviously challenges start getting more and more complicated. So I would say that we cover, every single aspect of coding from the very, very basics. So we target junior developers, people without any coding experience. And then eventually we have challenges, we have exercises focusing seniors, tech leads, where algorithms start getting more and more complicated, where it's not just about finding the right answer to a problem, it's also about trying to find the optimal answer where everything should work perfectly in time, in manner, and everything. So I think, again, at least the idea is to offer challenges for everybody, not just for juniors, not just for seniors, but to everyone.
Nice. And how did you get the idea, and when did you decide to kind of commit to that full time?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. So don't ask me why, but historically speaking, I've been involved in many job interview processes in the companies I used to work for. And, when you run interviews, when you interview candidates, at some point you realize to ask the same questions over and over and over and over, which is exhausting for the interviewer. It's exhausting for the candidate because he's getting the same questions or she's getting the same questions. So at some point I thought, why don't we create a mechanism to prove the abilities, the technical abilities of the candidate in an automated way somehow? Obviously, that system has some limitations, about, soft skills, team abilities. At some point, all these things cannot be tested that easily, but at least if we have a tool that can tell not just the companies but also the developer how good the performance is dealing with a bunch of exercises, I think that will benefit everyone.
Okay, and it's not just the platform, is it? You also have meetups as well, and events that you run. So how many people would you say are generally involved in the platform and also the meetups?
Yeah, so that's right. So we also have a meetup group where essentially create events. So I would say at the moment we're still a small community, obviously, but we're about 12,000 members. Yeah,
Nice. Not
lots of
so small.
members. Yeah, no, but the thing is, this is not about the numbers. I mean, I'll tell you something. We are not making any profit by running Kodiri. We are just trying to help people. So I think it's quite rewarding to see developers from, again, any background, any level, any region joining the platform, joining our online events on Meetup. I think it's very rewarding to see how they are progressing, and actually on the other way around, how much they are contributing. Yeah, we've got many collaborators from many countries helping us to build a platform, to add more challenges, to do bug fixing, you know, everything. I think that's the best part, actually.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I remember you saying to me previously, it's not just for people to take part in the test, you also encourage them to put their own tests on there, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at some point, we cannot do everything by ourselves anymore, which is, I think, a good thing, right? Because that means that everything is growing, and we need the support from the community. So, yeah, that's actually true. We got collaborators in different European countries. I mean, at a personal level, I'm a JavaScript developer. Yeah, that's all I can do. So everything about JavaScript, I think I feel quite comfortable, no problem at all. But you know, the platform, it's growing, and now it sits beyond the scope of JavaScript and related technologies. So now we are covering all their languages, all their frameworks, and at some point we need help. We are unable to offer meaningful challenge to, for instance, senior Java developers. That's why we need the help from the community, and this is working really well. So now the platform, well, first of all, it's free for everybody, but now it's open. So whoever wants to participate, whoever wants to collaborate, you know, we are more than happy to work together and try to set up a bunch of exercises together, regardless of what the technology is.
Nice. And I know you said it's about 12,000 at the minute. How long's it been going? It's grown pretty quickly.
Well, it's a couple of years now. So
Okay.
we started the Meetup group in, I think it was spring 2018. We opened the platform in winter 2018. So yeah, a little slightly less than a couple of years. So yeah, I think it's growing at a good rhythm. Now, obviously, because of the lockdown, things are changing a bit. So we are more focused on the online events. But yeah, I think it's you know, people is still demanding, and people is still keen to practice, to learn, and you know, that's why it's working so well.
Brilliant. And obviously you mentioned that you're mainly, you've always been JavaScript focused. I know you've obviously previously touched on a few other languages as well, but what other languages are available on Kodiri, and what do you see as the most popular on the platform at the minute? What's growing pretty quickly? What's in high demand?
Yeah, so yeah, as you said, I mean, JavaScript was the first one. At some point, we started to expand the JavaScript world, so it's not just about vanilla JavaScript. So we offer things like React.js, which is very trendy, obviously, these days, Vue.js, TypeScript, of course, HTML, CSS, all these sort of things, right? Beyond the aspect of the web, let's say now we are also supporting Java, Python, and MongoDB too. Yeah, these things have been recently added to the platform. And it's interesting because historically speaking, obviously JavaScript has been the first one. It's still these days the most popular one. However, we notice that Java is becoming very, very popular. So many players are enjoying playing with Java. Interestingly enough, literally yesterday, we started to collaborate with a bunch of people in France, a bunch of senior Java developers who are keen to provide more challenging questions, more challenging exercises to the platform. So, you know, I think the prospects are very positive, and I hope at some point we'll be able to challenge senior Java developers with some interesting exercises as well.
Brilliant. It sounds like you're building something that is really exciting. What would you say is the best part about working for Kodiri?
Yeah. So I think it's a really good question. To me, I mean, we don't do that for money, but to me, the most important thing is how rewarding the experience is. When we get feedback from people that probably we've never met face to face, but I can tell you stories about, for instance, people in Russia who managed to break into tech by learning to code with Kodiri. And
yeah,
you know, that's it's first of all a bit shocking because, you know, we never plan to achieve a level, to be in a position where we will be able to help people to break into tech just by playing challenges just by playing against others using Kodiri. But this is happening, and you know, to me, that's the most important thing. Also, I think it's important to highlight that we are collaborating with some non-profit schools. So we are helping different schools in Europe who work with unprivileged group, underrepresented individuals. And, you know, it's great to see that given the circumstances, we are trying to help people as much as we can, yeah? We got, at the moment, I think, developers from 80 countries, and, you know, we got even people from locations like Palestine territories, yeah? And I have no idea how they deal with the platform, but it's not hard to imagine that life in Palestine is gonna be anything but easy, yeah? So if we can help, even if it's just a tiny bit, people to disconnect a bit from whatever the reality is, I think that will, you know, that will pay off, that will work.
Perfect, especially in these times as well. Everyone's going
exactly,
different.
Exactly, definitely.
And what are the future plans for the platform and the wider business? I assume obviously you want to continue growing it, but are there other areas that you're looking to get into? Or?
Yeah, actually, we recently released our mobile apps for Android and iOS devices. So I think that's a milestone in Kodiri history. So now everyone can do a bit of coding using their smartphones. Now something we are actually playing with is with some pair programming capabilities. So imagine that I want to do coding with you, so we can create a room, we can create a session, and then we can share our screens, and then I can do coding, and you can my code, and you can do coding, I get your code. So we can work collaboratively, yeah? So the social aspect of coding has been there from the first day, and obviously we want to foster, we want to highlight that capability as much as possible. Also, as I mentioned before, Java is becoming very trendy on the platform, so we really want to improve that part with the help of the community, with the help of our partners. From a business point of view, once again, Kodiri is a non-profit platform. However, it is true that in order to guarantee the future, we want to keep it for free forever. That's our plan. But at some point, we will probably listen for some investment opportunities, because we want to continue running the platform as it is at the moment, because I think that's the most beneficial business model for everyone.
Perfect. And bringing us nicely onto that, then, how can people get involved? What information do we need to provide to them for them to get involved in Kodiri and find the meetups, use the platform, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I mean that's pretty simple. So talking about the meetup group, we got meetup.com/Kodiri. You'll find all the details, all the events we are running, and everything. Talking about the platform, when people join the platform, which is again completely free. So there are different ways they can collaborate. So for instance, imagine that you are a junior developer, you are not expecting to help to improve the system or anything, but you find a typo, something is misspelled, something is not correctly written. So we have an email always available. We have a feedback form. So people can collaborate in many different ways. Also, once you've been playing for a while, if you actually see the value and you want to get involved in a deeper way, so once again, you can contact us. We are always supporting the community. We run hangout or meet sessions with some partners on a weekly basis, where we discuss about where we are, what can we improve. So any way of collaborating is highly appreciated, because what we want is to help people. So I know some people feel a bit intimidated, like, how can I help if I'm unable to deal with simple exercises? But that's absolutely fine. Something we are trying to start dealing with shortly is about translation. At the moment, the platform is only available in English language, but we've received some messages from our community in Latin America, also in Asia, who would like to would like to help us translate the platform to different language, and that's actually very important for us, because that will help us to reach a higher audience. Yeah, so that's definitely something in the backlog as well.
Perfect. And I'm sure everyone's found that very informative about Kodiri. We'll make sure when we put this content out there that we'll provide links for everyone to access it quite easily as well. But taking a step back from that, kind of looking more into your background as a software engineer, how do you feel about the software engineering industry at the minute? Is there any advice in particular you would give to junior, mid-level software engineers looking to perfect their craft?
Yeah, so yeah, here at Kodiri, we've been helping many people to break into tech, which is very rewarding, as I said before. And you know, there is a classic discussion with people aiming to break into to find their first role in IT, right? And what we used to say, and I have to admit that that's a bit personal. Many people disagree on that. That's fine. Yeah, everyone has a different approach towards what's the best way to break into tech. But based on my personal feeling, based on my experience, based on what I've seen in the community that I work at, to me, if you try to break into tech, how cool the company is, the location, the salary, these things are far from being the most important aspect of the journey. Yeah? To me, the main thing is to choose the right stack. If you learn something that no one demands, yeah, obviously I don't want to talk about particular languages or frameworks, but you know that some languages are trendy, some languages are not trendy anymore. So if you learn something that the market is not demanding, it's going to be much more difficult, right, to break into tech. So to me, first things first. Let's focus on something that, first of all, you like, something you enjoy, something you feel comfortable, something that, you know, can you see yourself coding with that particular language, framework, library, whatever, for the next 5 years? If the answer is yes, try to learn as much as possible. Don't underestimate the soft skills. It is very important to be able to be a team player. No one goes alone anymore these days. Yeah, you are always surrounded by a bunch of people. So focus on something you like. Try to learn as much as possible. Try to put your feet in the door. Try to get your first role, even if if the salary is not great, if the location, even if the company doesn't have cultures, it doesn't matter, right? The important thing is to get experience, and then your profile will become more valuable for the industry. So then it's just a matter of time that you'll be in a better position to move to a better role in a better location with cool chairs. Yeah, but first things first. I think, you know, IT it's boiling, regardless of what the current situation is at the moment. It will return to normal. It's just a matter of time. So I think now is a good opportunity to start building some technical muscles, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it.
No, I definitely agree with you on that. And what about advice for people who are maybe trying to follow what you've done in a certain way and move from a comfortable software engineering role? They're earning good money, they're enjoying it, but they've got their startup idea and they're thinking about going to. What would your advice be to them?
That's very tricky, actually, because, you know, I'm probably not in the best position to answer the question, but at least based on my experience, you know, I think many developers have experienced the feeling where, you know, you are very comfortable, as you said, you're doing well, you're making good money and all these things, but you don't really feel you have all you need to be happy from a professional point of view. Yeah. So, you know, it's all about having an idea, trying it, especially listening to the people who surround you. I mean, I'll tell you something. If I see where Kodiri is today compared to what it was when I originally thought about, it's completely different. And hopefully it will be different in 3 years' time compared to what it is today. But that's fine, because I may have an idea, but then I'm surrounded by a bunch of people who tell me that idea is not gonna work, right? So once again, to me, the social aspect of coding is vital. And let me highlight that, because we are developers, you know, and I'm the first one who enjoys working in a dark room without any distraction. But you know, it's difficult. It's difficult to build something that works without getting feedback from your environment. Yeah. So it's great to do coding by yourself, but if you want to do something that works, listen and iterate. That's what we call agile. Yeah. Keep changing your mind, and let's accept that we are wrong not most of the time, but we are wrong often. Yeah. And we need to work on that and keep changing that.
Perfect. Well, Ricardo, it's been absolutely amazing having a chat with you this afternoon. I really hope and wish you all the best with Kodiri. From everything I know about the business, it seems to be on the right track. So fingers crossed that keeps going that way for you. And yeah, like I said earlier, we'll share the details of how to access Kodiri, Ricardo's information on LinkedIn and so on as well, so you can get in touch with him directly if you've got any questions. And yeah, no, that's it from us. If anyone else is interested in obviously Kodiri, JavaScript in London, you can find both meetup groups on meetup.com. For JavaScript in London, we've got an event on Thursday next week with Will Britton from Tempo. We're obviously looking for more speakers as well, so feel free to get in touch. And if you're interested in being interviewed and having a chat with me like Ricardo today, please also get in touch. It's good to see a familiar face on the screen and have a good catch up. So all the best from me and from Ricardo and the guys, Oliver Bernard and Kodiri. And yeah, all stay safe and we'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye.